Hello everybody, welcome to this week's Prophetic Trumpet. We're starting a new year. Guess what that means? We're starting a new series going to expose some things that maybe you were a little aware of, but you don't know how far they've come. And that's what this series is going to be about. We're going to examine something that, honestly, it goes back to the book of Genesis. And this temptation that is starting to invoke spiritual prophecy. Now, we're going to connect the dots in this series, and as we go along, the cases that I represent here that are taken from legitimate sources, you'll see the links there below. You can click on any of these and go directly to where my information sources are to bear the truth of what is going on. Now, as Christians, we know that the allure of knowledge itself is what tempted Adam and Eve in the garden when the serpent showed up in the garden and deceptively promised them, "You will be like God, knowing good and evil." Now, there's a temptation there. There's a temptation there that you will be like God, knowing. Well, let's go to the harbingerdaily.com. Mark Henry, not the world's strongest man, dare I say, but Mark Henry reported this on October 21st of last year, where he said, for the first time in human history, scientists have been able to successfully resurrect a creature that has been extinct for 1,000 years. Or many more years anyways, but by combing ancient DNA, dire wolf DNA specifically, that had been preserved, and DNA from modern gray wolves, then using domestic dogs as surrogate mothers to carry and give birth 3 new hybridized wolves, I didn't even know that was a word, were introduced into the world. That, loved ones, is creation. That creation is resurrection creation. Now let's go to the Scientific American, where Dan Vergano reported on April 16th of last year that 4 cloned red wolves that fell out of the spotlight, hidden amid de-extinction hoopla about vanished dire wolves, these same dire wolves we just spoke on from Mark Henry, not the world's strongest man, tell that the real secret to saving threatened species, and the answer isn't magical cloning technology. Colossal Laboratories in Biosciences announced that the birth late last year, that would have been 2024, of 3 gray wolf puppies with 15 gene variants that belong to the dire wolves, that this large carnivore went extinct about 13,000 years ago. That's a bit of a difference from what we learned from Mark Henry in the previous article. Colossal Laboratories and Sciences is based in Dallas, that's just a half an hour away from me, touted the adorable white genetically engineered pups as a step forward to making extinction the thing of a past. On its website, there was pushback. This is a designer dog, essentially. This is a genetically modified gray wolf. Jacqueline Gill, a paleontologist at the University of Maine, stated and told Scientific American that Colossal Chief Science Officers Beth Shapiro, also an evolutionary biologist, later called such criticism fair points, but on the social media platform X, defended the de-extinction claim. The company's dire wolves claims were released earlier than a peer-reviewed study describing them as published, which was also added to the scientific skepticism. Quote, by cloning the red wolves from Louisiana while also leaving these individuals in the wild, their DNA both persists in a wild population and is brought into research setting there that they have the potential to create new red wolf ancestry to the captive population, end quote. Shapiro has told this to the Scientific American by email, by the way. Colossal Laboratories and Biosciences of Dallas, as I stated, is currently working with wildlife agencies, she states, to find a path that will allow this, end quote. Now, more fundamentally, scientists currently don't have a good picture of red wolf genetics. While they estimate that the 80% of gray wolf genes are from red wolf ancestors and not coyotes, they do not know for sure which is which. You know, I'm pretty for certain that kind of throws out trust the science, but maybe that's just me. So these eastern wolves might be a closer match to red wolves, for example, and thus better sources of genetic diversity for their revival, again through old-fashioned breeding. The danger of thinking that genetic technology can replace the hard work of conserving habitat and rebuilding a healthy population of threatened animals soon became clear with the dire wolf news. When the new United States Department of Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, who oversees the FWS, pointed to the genetically engineered dire wolf pups to undermine, and I do mean undermine, the Endangered Species Act. Quote, if we're going to be in anguish about losing a species, now we have an opportunity to bring them back, end quote, he told Interior Department employees, according to the Washington Post, and said, pick your favorite species and call up Colossal Biosciences and Laboratories. Now, billionaire businessman like Burgum will just order up a new from the gene factory for their private amusement. That's what the hopes are, in shades of Jurassic Park. In the meantime, their boss has just signed an executive order calling for the increased timber production on federal lands that once housed this vanished wildlife. What a wonderful future. Colossal did itself no favors by touting Burgum's endorsement on its website, by the way. And I quote, one of the concerns about all the hype about de-extinction is the drive to hurry into the spotlight before enough is fully understood, which risks making colossal mistakes, that being a pun, by the way, and to distract attention from funding from the more pressing priorities. I also get nervous because the science is being done behind closed doors and only for profit, says Mr. Sachs. So with this, we now have the means, or at least on a road to the means, to de-extinctify that which has been destroyed. Remember what the temptation was. You will be like God and know. Prophecy is playing its way out. We're going to examine this in the weeks to come, and you will see this isn't just confined to mere wolf pups. Hope that you have a fabulous day, and thank you for joining us here on the Prophetic Trumpet. Please like and share the message. Hit subscribe below. Hit the notification bell every time we post. You'll be the first to know. We'll see you next time.